stop lying. This video is brought to you by Beating Black and Blue, being the black cop in America on the seas. Also, go to the merch store, get the merch, put it in Tatum IG, get 20% off the entire store. Like and subscribe to this channel. Download the podcast, the Beat Tatum Show podcast on all podcasting platforms. All of those links are in the description section. You know what to do. Let's get into this. Ladies and gentlemen, and ladies, oh my gosh. I knew this was bullcrap when I first saw it. And it makes me upset because conservatives are just as bad as liberals whenever it affects them on a particular issue. Just as bad as liberals. Every time I say these things, I hope that you're listening to me. If it seems too juicy, do a little more research. Do a little more research. It seems asinine that any department in the United States of America would arrest a 9-year-old for trespassing. And I want you guys to understand this officially, so there's no confusion. The NYPD cannot, will not, and do not arrest people for mandates. I want to clarify this because I think people get confused. NYPD, no police department in the United States of America can arrest you for a mandate. When you are arrested based on the laws that are in that state or whatever city code that you violate, you will be held accountable for. When it comes to mask mandates, and there are not laws. If you get arrested for a mask mandate, you will have so much money in your bank account for suing the police department for false arrest that your mind is spin. Now let's talk about this situation. The narrative is, and I'm not going to put people's names out there. You know who you are because you posted this because you want to get clicks. You ain't even looking at the facts. The narrative is, and I got birdies, so I know exactly what happened in this situation. That the narrative is they went in there to the museum to protest the mask, and they called the police on them, and cops came and arrested everybody there, arrested the 9-year-old, took him out of jail. That's not what happened. That is not what happened. And I would argue that there's not one person watching this, unless you were a police officer at the scene or you happen to know information that I know, that actually know what really happened. These people, adults, took a 9-year-old girl with them. It was about I think 5 or 6 of them that got arrested. It was about 6 or 7 adults that took this little 9-year-old girl with them to protest at the museum. They went into the museum, refused to pay at the museum. The museum didn't even call the police. They went in and refused to pay. They were not wearing masks. They did not have vaccination IDs. The museum still didn't call the police. The museum closed and they refused to leave. So after they protested and did their little shenanigans, they didn't get the results that they wanted because the museum never called the police. But the museum closed and they stayed for 1 to 2 hours after the museum closed. And that's when the museum finally called the police because the museum is closed now. You can't just stay at the museum because you feel like it. And so if you ask me, based on the information that I know of, this had nothing to do with them presenting vaccination status or them not wearing a mask. This had everything to do with them being rebellious by not paying to go into the museum and to stay 2 hours after the museum had closed. And the police showed up and the police officers asked them to leave. Even after the museum was closed, they were asked to just leave. They refused to leave, as if they were going to stay at the museum throughout the entire night and do whatever they want to do to make a statement, which you can't do that. That's against the law. But then the bad part is they bring a 9-year-old into this. They make her sit through this. They knew they were going to go to jail. They knew they were going to get arrested. They knew they were going to break the law. And they brought this 9-year-old baby with them to this location to go viral and to make a scene. This is not what you do when you want to make a point. You don't traumatize a kid by trying your hardest to get arrested so that you can somehow stage this event and make it look like the police are arresting a 9-year-old. They should be ashamed of themselves. The NYPD lost 2 officers the other day. They got more stuff to worry about than trying to deal with you idiots going into a museum and not protesting the mask because they wouldn't call the police on you over that. Not protesting the vaccine because they wasn't tripping on y'all over that. But you're trying to stay so you can get arrested by police to put this little girl in that situation. Ladies and gentlemen, I get it. We don't like some of the things that people have been enforcing in their private businesses. Some people believe that it's constitutionally against the law. Do your research and you'll find out that there's an argument that this is not unconstitutional. Some of the things, not everything, but some of the things that they're doing. People reference HIPAA. I just read where HIPAA does not apply to businesses, restaurants, and I'll share that video that I made for some of y'all to see where I did the research live on my live yesterday, and it was relatively proven that there's an exception during an emergency, a national emergency, a nationwide emergency when it comes to HIPAA. But this is wrong. Y'all need to stop just believing everything you read. As a former police officer, I knew they didn't arrest this girl. And then I got validation because I know what's going on. I got birdies that for sure they didn't never arrest this girl. They staged all of this to get clickbaits, to push an agenda. This is not how you make a difference. Know what you're fighting for. We are not fighting against mandates. Police officers are not arresting people for mandates. Your drama, your beef is with the government, is with the president, is with the governor, the mayors who are making these companies enforce things, which lawfully they can, under an emergency exception. It's not the police's fault. You can, by all means, go in there and protest. But then when you're asked to leave and you have to involve police, just leave. Just leave. Go there every day and protest, and when the police come, before the police come, just leave. I'm sure the police officers ain't gonna waste their time trying to chase you down. Just leave. Don't put our brothers and sisters in uniform in a position where they have to now waste their time arresting you. Especially when they ain't the problem. Our brothers and sisters ain't the problem. Your beef is with the museum. Your beef is with the governor. Because they are implementing these policies that are lawfully exercised by these businesses. And police have to come because you refuse to leave. Not because of COVID, not because of mask mandates. No, because you refuse to leave another person's property according to the law. And now they have to be involved. Anyway, some of y'all gonna get it, some of y'all not gonna get it. Shame on whoever posted this and did not do the research. They never arrested this young girl. They took her to the substation so she can be with her parental guardian after they were processed for intentionally getting arrested. And of course, he wears a Martin Luther King shirt on, which y'all ain't doing the same thing Martin Luther King doing. They took her to the substation to be with her parents. They didn't call CPS. They didn't leave the little girl out in the street. They safely escorted her to a patrol car where they can take her to be with her parents, where she was later released to them. Did you want them to leave on the street, or do you want them to call CPS? No. They peacefully, respectfully, gently walked this little girl to the car, put her in the back, took her to the substation to be with her parents. Because these idiots put their kid in a situation where they were going to get arrested. And I think it's a shame. It is a flat out shame. And I hope people learn, stop believing everything you read. Do some research if it's too juicy. Same thing happened with the 5-year-old. 5-year-old arrested by police. I made a video about that. And we'll link it here, right here, somewhere. I made a video about that, proving that the cops didn't even talk to the 5-year-old. They mentioned like 2 words to him. He just so happened to be sitting at the table. There was nobody arrested at the whole entire table. Don't believe the lies, ladies and gentlemen. I love you. I'll see you on the next video. I'm out.